Thank you. Thank you.
Yup.
Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon and welcome to the official launch of the ASEAN-IPR Regional Study on Youth, Peace, and Security in ASEAN. Please give us a round of applause. I cannot hear the sound. We have 3,000 people here, so yeah, thank you. We are truly honored that this launch can be held in a hybrid format, both in person and online, while in the midst of a current developing situation in Jakarta. So please say a warm hello as well to our friends joining us on Zoom. We hope you can share in the excitement of today's event. My name is Anissa. While my age might suggest I am no longer considered as a youth, but my spirit, like all of ours in here, remains forever young. It is my pleasure to serve you as your MC for today. It is with a feeling of great relief and gladness that I have finally come to this special event where we will officially launch the ASEAN-IPR Regional Study on Youth, Peace, and Security in ASEAN. This important endeavor was initiated by the ASEAN Institute for Peace and Reconciliation, or ASEAN-IPR, with the United Nations agencies and experts, youth researchers, and representatives, as well as like-minded institutions back in 2023. Today's official launch is organized by the ASEAN-IPR in collaboration with UN Women and with technical support from the Griffith Asia Institute. This important launch event will not have been possible without the generous support of the governments of Canada, the United Kingdom, and the Republic of Korea. This study represents an important milestone in advancing the youth, peace, and security agenda in our region. It highlights the voices, perspectives, and aspirations of young people across ASEAN and provides recommendations to strengthen our collective efforts in promoting peace and security. For your kind information, due to current circumstances in Jakarta today, we'll be making some adjustments to our event rundown. We will proceed up to the presentations of the highlights and findings of the study. Unfortunately, we will not be having the panel discussion and the breakout sessions, but participants can still be actively involved in the substantive part of this launch by sharing your thoughts and ideas in the virtual board and post-event evaluation forms, which we will share later. Thank you very much for your kind understanding. Now, Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, to formally open our event, we'll now hear a series of remarks. First, it is my honor to invite His Excellency Gusti Agung Wasaka Puja, Executive Director of ASEAN IPR, to deliver his opening remarks. His Excellency, the floor is yours.
Sorry.
Thank you, Anissa. Excellencies, representative of ASEAN's dialogues, sectoral dialogues, and development partners, representative of the UN agencies, in particular the UN Women. I see Ulchi and and Christina in this room this afternoon. Esteemed partners of ASEAN and Asean-Ipr, distinguished speakers, facilitators, guests, and participants, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon and very warm welcome to everyone's this afternoon, in particular due to the circumstances in Jakarta. Today, we very much appreciate your participations today, especially in our event this afternoon. It is my greatest pleasure to welcome you all to the official launch of the ASEAN Institute for Peace and Reconciliation's Regional Study on Youth, Peace and Security in ASEAN. Excellencies, as you are fully aware, youth, peace, and security is one of the manifestations of ASEAN's commitment to increase youth involvement in peace building. This is manifested in one of the pillars of the ASEAN Political Security Community Blueprint 2025 in Action Line 8.3.1.2. Since the joint declarations on comprehensive partnership between ASEAN and the United Nations 2021-2025, ASEAN has increased the engagement on the topic of youth, peace, and security by promoting deeper cooperation with and among youth. ASEAN and its partners can effectively address emerging challenges to building and sustaining regional peace and security. In the face of today's rapidly shifting challenges to peace and security, ASEAN continues to recognize the importance of youth as key partners in shaping a more peaceful and resilient region. However, many young people still encounter barriers that prevent them from fully contributing to dialogue, policymaking, and peace-building processes. Advancing the youth peace and security agenda is therefore not merely about youth participations alone, but also strengthening inclusive approaches that ensure long-term stability and sustainable peace for all. ASEAN Institute for Peace and Reconciliation has carried out a number of initiatives that place youth at the center, ensuring they remain the integral actors. Asean-Ipr has implemented initiatives such as the Regional Youth Conference on Peace and Tolerance in 2018, which resulted in ASEAN Youth Declaration on Peace and Tolerance, along with a plan of actions, which remains a reference for the Institute's youth initiatives. Asean-Ipr continued youth-focused projects, including the Youth Tech Workshop and Training, ASEAN Youth Peace Figures, the Youth Peace Essay Competitions, the Dialogue on Peace and Multilateralisms, the Youth as Agents of Future Change, and the ASEAN-Ipr discussion series, Lessons Learned and Developing National Action Plans on Youth, Peace, and Security. All of which are building blocks and part of awareness raising on the very real work Southeast Asian youth are doing in peace building in their respective communities. Furthermore, the ASEAN IPR training, enhancing the role of youth in peace building, was held in early August 2024, last year, to empower the youth with necessary knowledge and skills to fulfill their roles as agent of peace. In early February this year, Asean-Ipr co-convened the ASEAN UK Youth Peace and Security Forum to discuss transnational cybersecurity threats and empower youth in security policymaking. Later in the same month of February, Asean-Ipr convened the Regional Conference on Cybersecurity and the role of information technology in fostering a culture of peace in ASEAN, a platform for collaborations to strengthen cybersecurity policies. This conference also included youth as active participants. These initiatives represented important milestones in advancing the recognition of youth as key agents of peace across the regions. These past initiatives, Excellencies, dear colleagues, reflects Asean-Ipr continuous commitment to place young people at the center of peace and security efforts. Building on this momentum, today's event provides an important platform to further amplify youth voices, exchange perspectives, and explores concrete ways to localize and sustain the youth peace and security agenda across the regions. And in line with these efforts, the YPS study we are launching this afternoon emphasizes the importance of creating an enabling environment where young people are not only beneficiaries, but also active partners and leaders in shaping sustainable peace. It highlights the need for institutional support, capacity building, and meaningful participations mechanisms that allow youth perspectives to be integrated into decision-making at both national and regional levels, especially in the peace and security field. Furthermore, the study underscores the value of regional cooperations, cross-sectoral engagement, and inclusive policymaking to ensure that the aspirations and capacities of youth are fully recognized within ASEAN broader peace and security agenda. By acknowledging both the challenges and opportunities ahead, the study serves as a roadmap to strengthen the role of youth as key stakeholders in peace building and conflict resolutions across Southeast Asia. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, dear colleagues, it is my hope that today's discussions serve not only as a space for promoting our initiatives and sharing ideas, but also as a source of inspiration for youth to take a more active role in peace building. The energy, creativity, and determination of youth are powerful drivers of positive change. By contributing your voices and actions, you are not just participants in this process, but key actors who will shape the stability, security, and peace of our regions in the years to come. Youth are not just the leaders of tomorrow, they are the catalysts for change today. Before I close, I would like to acknowledge some close partners who have been with the Asean-Ipr since the beginning of these studies, initiations. First and foremost, of our partners, UNDPP, DPO, UN Women, UNOCD, UNODA, UNDP, UNFPA, UNICEF, and UNESCO, who are in this room also today. And allow me to extend my gratitude to all collaborators from youth-led organizations in the regions, and of course, to the youth themselves. Your steadfast partnership has enabled impactful initiatives, and we deeply appreciate your commitment to our shared goals. I thank also the Folk Bernadotte Academy in Sweden and the CMI Martti Ahtisaari Peace Foundations in Finland, who were contributors to the study. We are also pleased to partner with the Griffiths Asia Institute in convening this official launch event. We thank Erica for joining us this afternoon. I would also like to express our appreciations and gratitude to our donor partners for their generous support and partnerships, the Government of Canada, the United Kingdom Foreign Commonwealth and Development Office, and the Government of the Republic of Korea. My sincere thanks to our esteemed participants for your willingness and commitment to participate in these events in the midst of the current circumstances in Jakarta, and for your dedications to advancing peace and security across the regions. Your active involvement is vital in building more inclusive, effective peace and security frameworks. In particular, I would like also to express our appreciations to the Secretary General of ASEAN, Excellency Dr. Kok Kim Hoorn, and the UN Assistant Secretary General, Excellency Khalid Khairi, for graciously provide pre-recorded video messages for our event this afternoon. Once again, my appreciation to all partners and collaborators for these collaborations and all of the participants attending our event this afternoon. Have an insightful discussion and lunch. I thank you so much. Good afternoon.
Thank you very much, Pak Puja, for your opening remarks. Next, we'll hear remarks from His Excellency, Dr. Kok Kim Hoorn, Secretary General of ASEAN. As Pak Puja said before, his remarks have been pre-recorded, so we'll now play the video.
Excellency Mr. I Gusti Agung Wisaka Puja, Executive Director of Asean-Ipr, Excellency Mr. Mohammed Khalid Khairi, Assistant Secretary General for the Middle East, Asia and the Pacific of the United Nations, Department of Political and Peacebuilding Affairs and Peace Operations. Distinguished members of the Governing Council and Advisory Board of Asean-Ipr, distinguished delegates and participants, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. It is my distinct pleasure to address you today as we officially launch the Asean-Ipr Regional Study on Youth, Peace and Security in ASEAN. I wish to begin by congratulating the ASEAN Institute for Peace and Reconciliation on successfully commissioning this groundbreaking study. Today marks more than just a report launch. We celebrate the indispensable role our youth plays as the driving force behind ASEAN's present achievements and future aspirations. This study represents a significant milestone in advancing the Youth, Peace and Security, or YPS, agenda, underscoring ASEAN's commitment to recognizing young people not merely as beneficiaries, but as active agents of peace building, security, and development across our region. This study also contributes to the global YPS agenda, first launched through United Nations Security Council Resolution 2250 in 2015, and further strengthened by Resolution 2419 in 2018 and 2535 in 2020. Excellency, ladies and gentlemen, our youth embodies a powerful force for positive change. They lead social movements, champion climate justice and human rights, and advocate for a more inclusive and sustainable future. ASEAN's young people consistently demonstrate remarkable resilience and creativity, particularly when addressing our rapidly evolving global landscape that demands innovative solutions to secure our collective future. Across the world, young people are driving peace initiatives, from climate negotiations to post-conflict recovery, underscoring that ASEAN's youth are part of a much wider global generation shaping our common future. We face interconnected challenges that cut across every domain. Technological shifts, from the digital revolution to artificial intelligence, are reshaping work, security, and opportunity. Economic pressures, including protectionism, trade barriers, and supply chain risks, test our resilience, while persistent poverty and widening development gaps hinder progress. At the same time, climate change, environmental degradation, and biodiversity loss demand a just transition to a green economy. Health security remains fragile in the wake of pandemics and demographic shifts, from aging populations to migration trends. Taken together, these overlapping pressures form a complex landscape that calls for urgent and innovative responses, particularly from the rising generation. These overlapping pressures converge most strongly on young people, shaping their sense of security, opportunity, and identity, and influencing the choices they make as leaders of tomorrow. Meeting these challenges requires prioritizing the inclusion of vulnerable and marginalized communities, while empowering women and youth, ensuring our collective journey towards sustainable development leaves no one behind. With youth aged 15 to 34 comprising approximately 31% of ASEAN's population, our region possesses a unique advantage to harness the energy, passion, and innovative thinking of this dynamic demographic. Promoting ASEAN's awareness, values, and identity among our youth establishes the bedrock for regional peace and stability. By encouraging meaningful youth participation and engagement in regional development, we create pathways for their substantial contributions to fully realizing the ASEAN Community Vision 2025 and its successor framework, ASEAN 2045, our shared future. This perspective reinforces that youth development has always been fundamental to ASEAN's mission. By 2045, today's youth will be in their leadership prime, and the choices we make now will define the trajectory of ASEAN's mid-century future. ASEAN has consistently recognized youth as the architects of our region's future. Our dedication to youth development is exemplified by the second ASEAN Youth Development Index, launched in 2022, which provides a comprehensive framework for developing policies and programs that address contemporary youth challenges. The index encompasses key areas including education, health, employment, civic participation, and ASEAN awareness, ensuring young people are equipped and empowered to contribute meaningfully to regional peace and development. Additionally, ASEAN's Youth Work Plan 2021-2025 and the upcoming 2026-2030 framework are strategically designed to expand opportunities for youth engagement in shaping our region's trajectory. These plans are anchored in the principles of inclusion, equality, and social cohesion, emphasizing the essential nature of youth involvement across all dimensions of societal development. These initiatives at the ASEAN level are further reinforced by our collective commitments with partners at the regional and global stages. The joint statement on promoting the Youth Peace and Security Agenda, adopted during the 28th ASEAN Regional Forum in 2021, represents a collective commitment to advancing this crucial agenda through regional solidarity. The statement emphasizes leveraging ASEAN-led mechanisms and entities, including the ASEAN Institute for Peace and Reconciliation, alongside external partners, international and regional organizations, and the United Nations mechanisms to support comprehensive YPS implementation. While ASEAN has made substantial progress in encouraging youth involvement and empowerment in peace and security initiatives, the YPS agenda continues to face significant challenges. This regional study offers a comprehensive snapshot of our current landscape, providing invaluable insights into the diverse experiences of youth across our region. It illuminates both the obstacles they encounter and the opportunities for deeper, more meaningful engagement. The study makes clear that for youth to realize their full potential in contributing to peace and security, they require appropriate platforms, adequate resources, and sustained institutional support. ASEAN's future youth development work plan must align strategically with the ASEAN Community Vision 2045, enabling young people to play instrumental roles in strengthening our dynamic, innovative, and resilient community. The YPS agenda is fundamental to shaping this future, ensuring that youth not only participate but lead efforts to address emerging regional challenges, advance sustainable socio-economic development, and strengthen ASEAN's shared values and collective identity. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, moving forward, I propose we focus on these four critical areas to enhance meaningful youth involvement. First, creating opportunities for youth leadership. We must provide young people with genuine spaces to lead, whether through community projects, conflict resolution efforts, or governance initiatives. Second, addressing socio-economic needs. Economic empowerment is essential for broader participation. Youth engagement in peace building must connect directly with access to quality education, meaningful employment, and entrepreneurial opportunities. Third, investing in local foundations. National and regional youth platforms require strong local infrastructure to ensure sustainability and generate meaningful impact. Fourth, ensuring intersectionality in youth programming. Our engagement strategies must reflect the full spectrum of youth experiences, encompassing gender, ethnicity, disability, and socio-economic diversity. This comprehensive approach ensures no young person is marginalized in our collective efforts. The ASEAN Youth Work Plan 2021-2025 exemplifies our commitment to empowering youth as agents of transformation through initiatives such as the ASEAN Youth Interfaith Camp. These programs, among others, contribute significantly to cultivating a culture of nonviolence and peace, fostering a safer and more inclusive ASEAN community, efforts that must continue to strengthen in our upcoming work plans. As we embark on this transformative chapter of ASEAN 2045, our shared future, we must remain committed to ensuring young people are not merely consulted, but are integral partners in shaping the policies that will guide our region toward a more inclusive, secure, and sustainable future. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, in conclusion, I extend my appreciation to all partners and contributors who made this baseline study possible. Your dedication and collaborative spirit have been instrumental in bringing this important work to fruition. As we move forward together, let us reaffirm our collective commitment to empowering youth, fostering lasting peace, and building a future where all ASEAN citizens, especially our young people, can flourish and thrive. The story of ASEAN 2045 will, in many ways, be the story of our youth. Thank you.
The Secretary General of ASEAN for his meaningful message. Please, we will hear remarks from His Excellency Khaled Hairi, Assistant Secretary General for the Middle East, Asia, and the Pacific of the United Nations. His message is also pre-recorded, so now we'll play the video.
Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, dear young leaders, I'm delighted to mark the launch of the Asean-Ipr Regional Study on Youth, Peace and Security in ASEAN. Congratulations to Asean-Ipr for the successful completion of this important assessment on the status of implementation of the Youth, Peace and Security Agenda in the ASEAN region. Congratulations also to the Southeast Asian youth-led organizations and networks that have been indispensable partners in this process. The United Nations has been a steadfast partner of ASEAN on YPS, starting with the ASEAN workshop on advancing YPS in ASEAN held in Vientiane, Laos, PDR in December 2022. The recommendation for a regional study is one of the outcomes from that workshop. The United Nations, through the Department of Political and Peacebuilding Affairs and UN Women, have supported the drafting process. The United Nations look forward to continuing to support ASEAN as it takes forward the recommendations made in the study. Some of those recommendations are addressed to the international community, such as integration, the Youth, Peace and Security Agenda in joint plans of action with ASEAN, supporting evidence-based youth, peace and security initiatives, and supporting innovative solutions to amplify the voices of young people. We welcome these recommendations and look forward to working with ASEAN on their implementation. Since the adoption of UN Security Council Resolution 2250 in 2015, we have seen across the world that by encouraging youth to engage in politics and peacemaking, governments can increase solidarity between different generations and rebuild trust in institutions. We have also seen that regional and national action plan on YPS are important instruments for ensuring the participation of youth and involving youth in decision-making about their futures. The launch of this study is timely, as part of the Pact of the Future that was agreed by member states in 2024. The United Nations will undertake the second independent study on youth, peace, and security. This study will build on the 2018 study by showcasing youth contributions and strengthening the case for why youth should be part of peace building and political processes as actor of peace. In a time of heightened political polarizations, shifting global dynamics, and declining funding, it is more important than ever to build a compelling case for youth inclusion. 5 regional consultations with member states, civil society, and youth stakeholders will be held to inform the study. I encourage you to contribute to this exercise so that the ASEAN experience can be reflected in the overall study. I want to reiterate that the United Nations remains committed to accompanying the Youth, Peace and Security Agenda in ASEAN, and you can count on our partnership and support going forward. Thank you.
Thanks especially UN Women for its continued support and partnerships in advancing the YPS agenda in ASEAN. Excellency, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, we will now begin one of the most anticipated parts of today's program, which is the group. So, and this session will also mark the official launch of the YPA study. So for our colleagues joining us on Zoom, please switch on your cameras and show us your beautiful smiles. And we also kindly invite the Executive Director of the Asean-Ipr, His Excellency Gusti Agung Wisakapuja, also the country representative of UN Women Indonesia and liaison to ASEAN, Ms. Uzi Suren Jamsran, and also one of the lead researchers of the ASEAN-Ipr YPA study, Ms. Erika Isabel Bulan Yage, to kindly come to in front of the stage to take photo together. Okay. We'll have. Okay. Thank you, Your Excellencies. We'll now move on to the session of the presentation of the ASEAN-Ipr Regional Study on Youth, Peace, and Security in ASEAN. The presentation will be delivered by Ms. Erika, representing the research team from the Griffith Asia Institute. Ms. Erika Isabel Bulanyage is one of the lead researchers of the ASEAN-Ipr YPA study. She is a young woman leader from Philippines who is currently a PhD candidate at Griffith University. Her expertise is in inclusion and youth in emergencies, peace building, and disaster risk reduction. She has a diverse professional background, working with UNICEF and UNFPA at both headquarters and in the Asia and the Pacific regional office, and previously served as the ASEAN UN Partnership Officer with UNDPPA DPO in Jakarta. Ms. Erika also served as an emergency responder and a government-elected youth counselor in the Philippines. Erika holds a master's in peace and conflict studies from University of Queensland, a Bachelor of Science in Community Development from University of the Philippines, and also a Youth, Peace, and Security Leadership Certificate from Columbia University. Ms. Erika will present the methodology, key findings, and recommendations of the study. So, Ms. Erika, the stage is yours.
Thank you so much. So before I start, can you hear me? Sorry. Yeah, so as we gather here today to discuss youth peace and security, let us remain mindful of the ongoing protest and the voice calling for justice and equality beyond these halls, including the struggles faced in other parts of our region and in many parts of the world, such as in Gaza, Ukraine, and DRC. I'd like to request a moment of silence, of reflection and solidarity with all those affected by injustice, conflict, and inequality. So, good afternoon, Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, colleagues, and friends. It's a great honor to present to you today the findings of the ASEAN-Ipr Regional Study on Youth, Peace, and Security. So this study really offers an evidence-based roadmap for advancing the YPS agenda in the region. It is seen as, and it has been, a collaborative effort led by ASEAN-Ipr that brought together diverse stakeholders, including the UN, academia and think tanks, and young people themselves. So together, we engaged in a participatory research process that designed to bridge the evidence gaps and document the vital contributions of young people in peace and security. So this study really proves that working with and for young people is not only essential, but it leads to meaningful and lasting outcomes. So Let me try the clicker. There we go. So before we delve into the study itself, allow me to first set the stage by sharing the global context, which a lot of the speakers early on already mentioned. So first is the UN Security Council Resolution 2250. So this context really provides the normative framework that places young people at the heart of peace and security. This adoption was really a groundbreaking moment. So for the first time, the international community formally recognized the role of young people in peace and security. This was achieved because of the persistence of youth advocates, civil society, and committed partners and allies. It also represents a paradigm shift from seeing youth as threats and beneficiaries, or rather than victims. We're now recognizing young people as active partners in shaping peace and security. So this resolution has 5 key areas, there we go, which is also similar to other peace and security agenda, particularly the women peace and security. We have participation, which ensures young people's meaningful engagement, the protection of young people, especially from violence and human rights abuses, prevention by addressing the root causes of conflict, partnerships by strengthening collaboration with and for them, and also the disengagement and reintegration of those leaving armed groups to rebuild their lives. So, in this spirit, is where the regional study on YPS was undertaken to explore how these global commitments translate to the local and regional action. So, as mentioned earlier, we've heard about other succeeding resolutions on UNSCR 2250, where 2419 calls for young people's inclusion in peace processes and the protection of young peace builders. 2535 includes the concrete steps such as appointing YPS focal points or developing guidance that requires the progress and reports on YPS initiatives. So together, these resolutions really form a robust global framework which validates young people within this space. So now zooming into the regional study. Historically and today, a lot of young people have really been the driving force of change in our region. And I know a lot of people here now who are our leaders that we look up to were also former youth and student leaders themselves. So from leading independence movements in the past to today's efforts of peace building, young people have been leading and been the driving change online and offline as well. So these contributions really cannot be overlooked. And ASEAN itself has been working towards putting this in the forefront. So I feel like there is really a reason for us to look at ASEAN that needs to be highlighted at the global level as well. Yet these progress have important gaps, particularly when putting young people in the forefront. So this study that we have here addresses this gap already. It marks a significant milestone as the first of its kind in the region. So with this foundation, I'd like to now share a brief overview of the findings. So the ASEAN-Ipr YPS study was designed with a clear purpose: to provide practical policy and program recommendations that can help ASEAN, national governments, international partners, and young people themselves to work together for inclusive peace and prosperity in our region. At its core, it really calls for cooperation among youth and with youth, because only through genuine collaboration can we meet the emerging challenges to peace and security in our region. So to achieve this study, the study employed a qualitative mixed method approach, using what we call the Youth and Everyday Peace Framework. This approach offers a fresh perspective on peace and conflict. It recognizes that peace is not only built in conference room or formal negotiations, but also in the everyday lived experience of young people. It highlights the lived experiences of young people, whether it's their challenges, their resilience, and the diverse way that they contribute to peace in their communities and beyond. But the study also went through an extensive process in terms of its data gathering. We looked at several literatures, including ASEAN policy frameworks, statements, reports, and other gray literature. It goes further than that. We also draw on years of youth consultation and dialogues, workshops held at the national and regional levels from 2017 to 2023, with most of them being led by young people themselves. It also incorporates insights from regional experts across the UN, civil society, and government ministries. The study also went through a validation process in 2023 through an online consultation with youth-led organizations. So ensuring that the voices of young people were reflected not just as subjects, but as co-creators of knowledge. The final phase of the study underwent a thorough review process and approval by the ASEAN-Ipr Governing Council. The study now stands as a collective achievement that bridges research, policy, and the lived realities of young people in the region. So I'll now go into the sorry. Oops. Let's go back. There we go, through the years. So I just wanted to show this. I will not go through each initiative one by one, but I just wanted to show you here what the extent of the YPS initiative is in ASEAN. And a lot of it is actually being led by Asean-Ipr. So what you see here is not exhaustive, but it demonstrates a strong foundation of where we can build on and the many opportunities to further amplify the work we have in YPS. So for clarity, we have the light oranges as the UN Security Council resolutions, which could be the reference points of all of the initiatives. In blue, we have UN-led initiatives. In pink, we have the civil society initiatives. And in dark orange are more the ASEAN-led initiatives, often in partnership with dialogue partners, the UN, youth, and other entities. And in green, we see these as the milestones that have led us today. So in brief, we talked about in 2022, during the December ASEAN UN workshop, where we had the ASEAN-Ipr study as a recommendation. Throughout 22-23, we've done initial data gathering. In 2023, the ASEAN-Ipr Governing Council formally approved the development of the study. And in 2024, further validation happened. And with the launch today that we have now, with the support of UN Women, the governments of Canada, the United Kingdom and Korea, and GAI, we officially have this for us to use. So with that journey in mind, I'd like to now present the key findings. So first, ASEAN Youth as Peace Dividends. We've been talking about young people a lot globally and in the region, where we see them as demographic dividends or the youth bulge. Well, in this area, it's really important, where young people really play a crucial role and really gives us the reason of why we need to invest in them. We need to look beyond that. We need to have a stronger language and approach that recognizes and support the agency of young people. This is not simply about the opportunities that we open for young people, but also recognizing their right and the right of young people to participate meaningfully in decisions that affect their lives. So ASEAN youth are not only demographic dividend, they are peace dividends. We've also heard how young people are already shaping the resilience and cohesive communities within ASEAN. The progress of this study and even YPS in general owes much energy to the young people themselves. At the same time, we've heard about the intersectionality component of it, where ASEAN youth have diverse and complex experiences of peace. So promoting the YPS agenda requires an intersectional approach that recognizes their cultural background, their gender, age, race, class, disability, and all other overlapping identities. So this approach is essential to ensure inclusive representation in conflict prevention, conflict resolution, and in peace building. Next, what does peace mean for young people in this region? So it really goes beyond the traditional definition of simply the absence of violence. For young people, peace also means access to and the protection of fundamental human rights, equal opportunities to education, gender equality, climate justice, and safe civic spaces, both online and offline. And you can see a very long list here and more in the study itself. Many of the youth organizations and networks in ASEAN are already working across these interconnected issues, proudly identifying themselves as peace advocates or peace builders. And importantly, this study demonstrates how YPS agenda complements other key regional peace and security agenda, such as women, peace and security, preventing and countering violent extremism, and addressing climate security. Now, in this study, we also have the different member states into focus. This provides an overview of their YPS context, initiatives, and opportunities. The reason for this is to recognize the unique context and contributions of every ASEAN member state, building on the data from the ASEAN Youth Development Index. By capturing country-specific experiences, the study not only highlights national progress and challenges, but also creates space for cross-learning and stronger regional cooperation on YPS. So, with any major agenda, the study does not only highlight progress, there are also challenges that we must confront and the opportunities to build forward. So first with the challenges, these again is not exhaustive. There's more in the study, but I just wanted to highlight a few that really stood out. First is the lack of systemic mechanism for youth engagement in the region, the lack of awareness of having a YPS agenda itself, the growing complexity of transnational issues, but also the persistent stereotypes that see young people as inexperienced victims or threats. Well, aside from these challenges, we also have important opportunities that we could leverage. We have existing ASEAN mechanisms on youth inclusion. We also can draw on the resources and expertise that is already available in the region. Then we can also strengthen the partnership that we have, for instance, the plan of actions that already include the YPS agenda, such as with the UK and Australia, and dialogue partners that have been investing on youth peace and security already, such as Japan, the Republic of Korea, and Canada. So these are really important to amplify the impact of the initiatives of YPS. And finally, connecting the YPS with other pivotal agendas in the region, such as WPS, PCVE, and climate security. So these challenges really reminds us that the work still ahead is still rough, but we're getting there. But the opportunities show us a clear path forward. One of this is really important to remember that all of them are rooted in collaboration and the recognition that young people are essential partners in building and sustaining peace in our region. So I'd also like to highlight some recommendations. So in the study, we have given recommendations per stakeholder according to the areas in which we feel is needed to advance YPS in the region. So for instance, we have for ASEAN, including its sectoral bodies and divisions, one of them is to really have a special ASEAN working group on YPS, or maybe have a regional action plan on YPS. Then we have recommendations for member states, which may include institutionalizing a space for dialogue. For international partners, it's more of focus on evidence-based YPS initiatives that could be used to strengthen policies and programs. And for young people and for civil society, to harness the collective power of ASEAN youth to take ownership of the agenda itself. So these are just a few things and things that could be highlighted within the study itself. But it really shows a clear way forward that we really need a multi-stakeholder approach in terms for us to move forward and advance the YPS agenda. So I wouldn't take more of your time, but you can read more of the study here. But before I close, as a YPS advocate, practitioner, and scholar, I really would like to also take this opportunity to sincerely thank everyone who's contributed their time, expertise, and energy in making this study possible. So this in itself is a major milestone, especially in today's climate of shrinking resources and the prioritization of inclusion in many decision-making spaces. So in more of a decade of the YPS agenda, like since 2015, it is clear that there really is much more to be done. To this day, there hasn't really been a single entity solely dedicated to advancing YPS. But what has kept this movement alive are the allies within the institutions, friends and colleagues in places like UN Women or Asean-Ipr, who are deeply committed to inclusive peace processes. And above all, it's the young people who have been really charting the way forward. So my hope, similar to His Excellency Puja, we hope that this study really drives the agenda forward and help bring together young people through intergenerational partnerships with institutions. And we can build on this momentum and the political will by these partnerships and ensure that young people are not only seen as demographic dividend, but as peace dividend that would shape ASEAN's peace and prosperity in the region. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Ms. Erica, for helping us gain a better understanding for the study that we are officially launching today. Now, please enjoy a compiled video featuring the voices of Southeast Asian youth on YPAs.
Hi, I'm Consumani from Cambodia. Hi, I'm Consumani from Cambodia. To me, peace means more than the absence of violence. It means feeling safe, respected, feel free to speak, learn and live without fear. It's about creating spaces where everyone, no matter their background, feels they belong. And youths, we are so important in building peace because we bring fresh energy, open mind and the courage to challenge injustice. Young people are already leading change in school, online and in our communities. We just need to be heard, trusted and supported. Last but not least, peace is feeling safe and seen. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Marani Chania and I'm from Indonesia, proudly representing AYO Academy. In terms of peace, to me, peace is begin when we feel genuinely respect and when we learn to extend that some respect to others, regardless of their backgrounds or beliefs. Peace is about creating a space when people can speak freely, express their ideas, and explore their identities without fear of judgment or exclusion. In ASEAN, peace holds an even deeper meaning. The region's commitment to non-intervention reflects shared respect for each member's state sovereignty and uniqueness. This principle doesn't divide us, but brings us closer by promoting trust, stability, and cooperation across borders in a way that acknowledges our difference. And this is exactly where young people come in. Our generation is globally connected, adaptable, and unafraid to speak out against injustice. We have the creativity, we have the energy, and the platform to drive change. By raising our voice and working together, we can create a future where peace isn't just an idea, but it's a lived reality for all.
Hi everybody, my name is Sajid Ahmed and I'm a Pakistani refugee living in Malaysia. 10 years ago, I heard a sad news that my uncle had been shot and killed. He left behind an elderly mother, a young widow, 2 little children, and 1 unborn daughter. This punishment because he was an Ahmadi Muslim. But sadly, I heard the similar sad stories from my friends who fled Myanmar and Afghanistan, Somalia, Syria, Palestine. And all of us believe that peace is when we recognize our shared humanity, where love replaces hate. And all of us believe that peace can only be achieved when we join our hands together and sing a symphony, a motto of 6 words: love for all, hatred for none. Thank you so much.
Greetings of tranquility everyone, and hello ASEAN. I am John Lawrence Zamuntong from the Philippines. Peace for me is more than the absence of violence. It is the presence of harmony, equality, and freedom. As the president of Samapula, a political science organization in Ateneo de Davao University, Philippines, I believe peace is not just about the silence of guns but it is the active construction of conditions where people and nations can coexist with dignity, fairness, and security. In this crucial work, youth play an irreplaceable role not as future leaders, but as present agents of change whose idealism, courage, and creativity are vital to building a more peaceful and just society.
Hi, my name is Ishan. I'm from Singapore. Peace to me is not the absence of conflict, but embracing the fact that conflict is inevitable, it can be necessary, and it can be very productive. And I think that youths play a very important role in bringing out peace within the region, because we are better able to create a safe space online and offline and suspend that judgment by creating a supportive network and an environment that allows in-depth discussion and a better understanding among one another. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Epifania from Timor-Leste. I think peace is serenity, where everyone can live in harmony and become one in community. We can create peace through respect and minimize the discrimination. People will truly live in peace if there is space to grow and there is no need to fight and we don't have feeling to fight. So let's come and become one to achieve the best peace for the future.
Hi, I'm Ling. I'm from the Center for Education Promotion and Empowerment of Women, Vietnam. Peace to me means having equitable opportunities to live one's full potentials. I think we can achieve peace by being committed to direct democracy, multi-stakeholder engagement, and continuous evidence-based evaluation in policymaking.
Thank you. Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, we have now reached the conclusion of today's event. As we have earlier informed, we are shortening the launch event to end after the youth video. However, we will still like to hear feedback and input from participants throughout this launch event, whether in person or virtually. We'll show on screen the code or link to provide your thoughts on the Miro board. So please feel free to provide your thoughts. We'll keep this open until tomorrow afternoon. You may need to log in using your email in order to use the Miro board, but please do it now. Don't do it tomorrow. We'll give you 3 minutes to participating here and in the Zoom also to access the Miro. So 3 minutes counts from now. kindly invite you to take part in our post-event survey. The survey can be accessed via the QR code displayed on the screen and also through the link shared in the Zoom chat box. Your feedback is greatly appreciated. While everyone fill in the My Role and the post-event survey on behalf of the ASEAN Institute for Peace and Reconciliation, we extend our deepest appreciation to UN Moment, the Griffith Asia Institute, the governments of Canada, United Kingdom, and Republic of Korea, our distinguished speakers, and all participants for your valuable time and engagement today. This concludes the official launch of the ASEAN-IPR Regional Study on Youth, Peace, and Security in ASEAN. Thank you very much for being with us, and we wish you a pleasant evening. We look forward to welcoming you to our next event, whether it will be in person or in online. We now invite you to join us for a brief networking session with refreshments provided. For those traveling home, we kindly remind you to take care and have a safe journey. We will still be displaying the QR code for the post-event survey and the Miro page, so please make sure to fill them in. Thank you and see you again. Please stay safe.